All right. Yeah, I wanted to talk about my childhood. I got the great idea from a great dude over there out there. He's out there in California. Yeah. Yeah. One of them California boys. He's an awesome guy though.
New message standing by.
I love watching him and all them guys out there at the Dark Side CrossFit. They get with it over there. I can't do stuff like that. I ain't strong like they are, and I'm still way too fat.
New message standing by.
I'm still huge. Of course, my messenger is just popping off every 5 seconds, and it bothers me. But I'm gonna try to let it not interrupt me. But anyway, he talked about his childhood, and I want to talk about mine. Anyway, uh, when I was born, I was regular. I was just regular. Born to a poor couple in Mississippi. I was born a poor black child in Mississippi. No, I was born a poor white child in Mississippi. I was regular. It wasn't, everything was groovy. As far as my health goes, until I turned 6 weeks old, and I got pneumonia. Well, when I turned 6 weeks old and got pneumonia, I ended up in the hospital for quite a while. And they pumped me full of all kind of drugs. I'm sure that they was, just going crazy with in the 70s. It was 1972. And I was 6 weeks old, and it was winter time. Anyway, ever since then, I started gaining weight, and I doubled every 6 months or so. And I got fatter and fatter and fatter. Well, needless to say, my health declined, and I just wasn't worth a flip from then on out. I was always the fat kid, the biggest kid, always the huge guy, you know. Bigger than my cousins. I was bigger than some of my cousins that was like way older than me. As far, I mean, fatter, yes, but I mean, sometimes even taller. Because I was well fed and I grew easily. Anyway, so, being fat really slowed me down. Uh, Playing with the other kids was something that I struggled with. Kids wanted to play, they wanted to run, they wanted to jump, they wanted to climb things, all of which I could not do well. And some things I could not do at all. Climbing was an act of Congress to get that done. So, anyway, so most of the time I sat with the little girls on the edge of the playground, and we made bracelets out of those little flowers that are so prevalent in the South. The clover blooms, those little flowers that hang out, and the little bumblebees and everything fly around. Anyway, uh, I hung out with those little girls a lot, and turns out there was a big reason why I felt more at home with them. And that is because at 6 weeks of age, when I got pneumonia, I stopped producing like
New message.
5
New
eighths
message
of
standing by.
the testosterone that I needed. And so the fatter I got, the less testosterone I made. Because belly fat limits testosterone. And I had a lot of belly fat. And so I grew up with a very little testosterone. I had just enough to keep me a boy. So growing up, I got fatter, and the less testosterone made me fatter, and the fatter made less testosterone, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I got in pretty bad shape there I had pneumonia like every year, 2 or 3 times a year, because of my immune system was so weak from not having much testosterone. you know, I didn't have anything to sort of pump me up and make me strong like I should have been. I was sort of weak and feeble. I was a little weakling child. I was a huge weakling child. But anyway, it was tough. And my folks hated each other. Let me just let me just preface by saying that. They got along great until I was born. And when I got born, everything went to crap. My father is what you call a serial polygamist. It means he liked being with lots of women, but one at a time. He wanted to be married to lots of women, but one at a time. And the thing is like, it's really interesting to think, is like, his whole story is a whole nother story, and I mean, it's an interesting one. I wrote a college paper on it. I wish I still had it. I lost it somewhere along the way. But anyway, it was like 10 pages, and it got an A plus. Yep. Not because of my great writing, it was because of my weird father. But anyway. And so, after, before I was born, my mother could pay attention to my father, and they had a great time because she was, taking care of him. But when I was born, I had to be took care of, and so she couldn't spend as much time taking care of him, and he got, like, upset about that. He's like, he's supposed to be the priority. And so he went elsewhere looking for caretaking. And so, if anybody knew my father, he got plenty of it. But anyway, they started arguing after that, and it was just a nightmare for kids to deal with that. But yeah. But I was a fat kid raised by two people that tried to kill each other regularly. And then I had a little brother. I don't know how in the world, if they were fighting, 5 days a week on, like, knockdown, drag out fights, how in the world did little brother happen? I mean, I can understand the mechanics of it, but by golly, who would want to have relations with somebody that's got a knife pointed at you most of the time? It's just weird to me. I can't fathom that. But anyway, that's something to think about. And I'm just going to do like some little 10-minute videos, and I'm not going to do like a huge long one because those get boring after a while. But anyway, so my folks were angry a lot, and I was fat, and I got made fun of a lot of places. Even my cousins at times would make fun of me and treat me pretty rough because of my weight. And I was so upset about things like that, and all I could do was just go home and be sad. I don't really know a word that would describe the way I felt as a child more than just sad. Alone and sad, because I mean, I could be in a room full of people and just feel like I didn't have anybody, because my father was interested in women, and my mother was interested in being angry at my father, and my little brother was a baby, and I was sort of just, I was the odd man out kind of thing. Nobody wanted to play with me. They wanted to whoop me. They wanted to beat me up for some reason. But that's the way kids are. Kids are so rude and so evil sometimes. They just don't know any better. But anyway. But I'm gonna just slack off here. Y'all, if you want to comment or anything, please do. If you have any questions about anything I've said, please ask. I really would love to have questions. I tell my story better if I have questions, because it's easier to answer a question than just to think up what I want to say off the top of my head. So anyway, kids, I love you, and I'd die for you. And if you need me for anything, you let me know. Bye.